Hello! Welcome to the Eagles Talent Live stream on Facebook. My name is Sheldon Senek, and I am joined by one of my favorite peeps in the world, Laura Schwartz. Laura is the former White House Director of Events. She's the author of Eat, Drink, and Succeed, and a TV commentator extraordinaire. I mean, is there anything you don't do?
Hey, I'm a girl from Wisconsin. You got to just do it all when you grew up there. So I'm always up for anything.
So, Laura, let's briefly talk about how you navigated your way to become the Director of Events at the White House.
Well, first of all, thank you all for joining on Facebook to listen to me speak with Sheldon today. I can't tell you how proud I am to be sponsored and respected because of this incredible organization. To be represented by Eagles Talent Speakers Bureau is just great for me. So I got to tell you, it's something I talk about. It's part of my core message of turning what sometimes we can see as optional into opportunity. That's exactly what the White House was. I went to American University for a one-semester program, of which I was due then just to return back to school. And when I got there for that program, where you could choose one of a few tracks to do and follow, I choose museum studies. I thought it'd be fun. I love a good Smithsonian institution, and I found it pretty fascinating. And so we did great gallery walks and visits 3 days a week, and then 2 days a week you had an internship. Well, I interned at a law firm for a communications group right within it, and it was great. I was, making copies, typing stuff up, getting coffee, doing what you do as an intern, and I was proud of it. First internship I ever had, 19 years old. And then my roommate got a call from her professor. And her professor in the journalism program said, hey, listen, just want to let you know, there's a guy that did this program a few years ago. He's now in the president-elect's transition office, and they're going to need help on day one. And I went and I met with this guy, and he said, listen, at noon on Inauguration Day, everything changes. We need people to answer phones, get coffee, make copies. You're not going to be briefing the president or anything. This is just grunt work. And I'm like, hey, that's what I'm doing now. I'd much rather do it in the West Wing.
Right.
So I said, sign me up. And I started volunteering. And I sat at a wonderful conference table every day with phones, and we just answer the phones. Hello, White House Press Office, White House, transferring people around. And I kept a tablet next to my phone, and I wrote down who called for who, the different press secretaries in our office and the director of television and such. And so then I would see, figuring through that, what was going on, maybe who needed a little extra help. And I'd go up to them and say, hey, you know what? I see you've got an event next week. If you need some help escorting a TV crew or just anything, let me know. I'm happy to come in. I don't have class that day. Mm-hmm. So I actually did have class that day. But I came in, and now I got to just take a crew from point A to point B and then observe what was going on. And I continued to do that. And because I was always up to make a copy and changing the toner in the fax machine all those years ago, they got to know my name. I came in at 6:30 because that's when the staff was there. I left at 9:30, even though the staff was there even still way later, but it was safe for me to go home on the Metro.
You're like a quarterback who wants to win.
Yeah,
right?
versus one other girl who volunteered with me who came in 9 to 5. Mm-hmm. And nobody really ever got to know her name because she never really volunteered up for anything. Mm. And so I look back and I say, listen, I was never up for saying no. I was the yes person when it came to, you need something done? I'm your girl. Nothing was below me. Nothing was above me that I couldn't figure out and make happen. And that's how they got to know my name. And I really think that was the turning point for me, turning what could have been an optional couple hours a day into an opportunity that radically changed my life.
And also, I think what I absolutely love is you really show the power of volunteering too, and how volunteering really can lead to many opportunities.
And volunteering is still a big part of my life. That volunteering opportunity at the White House.
And please talk about some of the things that you've organizations.
Well, it's pretty cool because that volunteering there led to my job as the youngest female presidential appointee ever, still today. Love holding the, we keep checking it out. But I became the staff assistant for the press office, the Midwest press secretary, the director of television, and then ultimately the White House director of events in 1997. But through that whole time, you never walk by a phone that's ringing off the hook, you answer it. And that volunteering has always been instilled in me, even before, from my parents. Today I carry that through by sitting on the board of the American Heart Association
Right.
Advocacy Board. I am a very active board member of Clean the World, the
Yes.
world's largest global recycler of hotel soaps and amenities.
What a great organization.
Oh, making such an impact. And the hospitality industry is so involved with it because right now, you know, we did it 6 years ago. And you use a bar of soap, you throw it away because it can't be used again. It sits and lies in landfills. And the founder of the organization, Clean the World, said, listen, we got to do something about this. So what we do now is we have partnerships with hotels all over the world, recycling operation centers in Orlando, Montreal, Las Vegas, Hong Kong, you name it. And we take the soap, the used dirty soap that gets thrown away. We sanitize it, we grind it down, make it into smaller bars of soap. We do the same thing with the bottle amenities. We sanitize those, and if they're 90% or more full, they get used in hygiene kits, and we get that out to those that need it, both around the world in 101 countries, and right here in America to a lot of battered women's shelters, food pantries, schools for houseless children. So I'm very passionate about giving back in different ways that I can in very structured functions such as Clean the World and American Heart Association, but with United Way, YWCA, with my neighborhood association. So I really enjoy the opportunity to mentor. And I think mentoring is so important. It's something I bring into a lot of what I speak about. But I have to say, there's great overlap with my speaking opportunities. I had the wonderful opportunity through Eagles to both MC and interview on stage Brett Baer and Rob Lowe for the largest pharmaceutical summit. This is the Specialty Pharmaceutical Summit, led by Assembia, just about a month ago. It was held at the Wynn Hotel and Casino. And so, like with all the clients I have that are at hotels which participate with the Clean the World, I said to the Assembia folks, I said, you know, how many heads and beds do you have if we count up how many days this is and how many folks you have coming? And they told me. So I called Clean the World headquarters. And I said, can you add up to me with 12,000 heads and beds how much waste will be offset from Southern Nevada landfills, and how many new bars of soap will be made to help others, and how many bottled amenities recycled will go into hygiene kits for the American Red Cross and all of those organizations. So they got me those stats. So not only was I able to go to the Wynn for Assembia, but during my downtime go thank the shift change housekeepers, and then share that information with Assembia, and through my company, tweet out what it means to host an event at not just a great, fabulous venue like the Wynn, but a responsible one like the Wynn. And then they could then say, hey, because you're here, by the way, thanks for attending. Because you attended, we've offset, I think it was about 1,200 pounds of waste from landfills and created new bars of soap. So I really enjoy, Sheldon, that great overlap between where and how I volunteer that makes an impact that is translatable to the same corporations and associations I speak with. So I share that information with them to empower them as much as the program itself.
You know, thinking about being at a conference, you know, it really seems like you really like to empower an audience to grow their networks and opportunity by adopting this mantra, what can I do for you? Can you expand on that?
Oh, I love that you asked me that. You know, my book, Eat, Drink, and Succeed, purposely has networking in the subtitle. And that's because, as you know out there, networking can sometimes seem so manipulative. It's, you're having a conversation with someone, you think it's going really well, maybe it's over cocktails or on a park or whatever, and then you find out they just want to get something from you. And if you can't give them the discount or get them a certain thing here or there, they're off to the next conversation. That's not networking. I look at networking as positive, as powerful, as building bridges for others to get to where they need to go in life. Because if we look into our scenes, and I talk about this a lot, diagramming our social scenes, we find the untapped power we have to build those bridges for others. Because when we help others, we achieve ourselves. We can help people turn the optional into an opportunity. And you know what, Sheldon? 6 months from now or that moment, you might have to walk across that same bridge. And so networking is what I can do for you. And I think that really comes full circle. Again, maybe 6 months from them, maybe 6 years from them, maybe never. Full circle. But you are a part of helping someone maybe at the most exciting or the most difficult time in their life. And I think that's one of the best gifts we can give. And when we network, we build those bridges, we help others. And that's what it's about.
Thinking about your history of working in the White House, meeting tons of leaders around the world, and spending time going to conferences and conventions all over the world, meeting so many CEOs and presidents and companies. What do you think are some of the top common traits you find in leaders?
Well, I got to tell you, Sheldon.
Good leaders, really.
Yes, and that's such a good question. And I was so honored and humbled to have had that opportunity during the White House for 8 years, and now as a speaker since then. So grateful for the opportunity. And the common traits I find between successful world leaders and CEOs and managers and staff assistants and admins, all alike, are those that don't just surround themselves with people that think like them, that are going to agree with them, but that will, when asked, tell them what they think and why they think it. President Clinton taught me a very important with a story. He taught me a very important thing in my life is that you always have to know why you're saying what you're saying. And when you know why you're saying what you're saying, you can stand by and say, yes, I agree, and this is why. Or you can say, no, I disagree, and this is why. And I think world leaders and successful CEOs and everybody at every level, when you surround yourself with, as I like to call, a kitchen cabinet,
right?
Your unpaid advisors that you trust to tell you the truth, that's when maybe you'll change course on a decision. Or maybe you'll realize that you need to study the course on what you're on. So I think it's world leaders that surround themselves with different people that give them ideas from all sides of the aisle and all sides of the issues. And that's certainly like what I try to do in my own life personally as well.
Right. So one other question before we just wrap up in about a minute. In addition to your staple program of the Eat, Drink, Succeed, and you also have Return on Experience, you have a new program that you are also offering, the U.S. Election Briefs.
Yes.
In about a minute, can you talk about what that program is about?
Hey, I got to tell you, this election is like no other. People are curious, they're confused, some of them are concerned. In the U.S. Election Brief by myself, with my nonpartisan and always positive approach, I go into companies and their satellite offices, oftentimes overseas, exploring here in America as well, to just go through in about a 40-minute brief, 40 minutes, to talk about how does this process work? Right now, it's all about the primaries. After the conventions, of which I've been at every convention, and I've covered every RNC and DNC since 2008, will again this July in Philly and Cleveland. We'll talk about how does the electoral process really work for a couple of minutes, because a lot of people aren't really familiar with that whole popular vote electoral map distinction. Then from there, all right, what's the state of the race? Now, what is the media, money, and message? This three-legged stool that I like to refer to, all about who's doing well with it, who's struggling with it, what is the state of the race as far as campaign commercials, what's one person trying to be versus the other. And so I show those commercials, and some of them may have come out that morning. We get them on tape, we show them at the brief, and then give a forecast based on real solid polling, as well as real voter background and the different voting classes. And then, you forecast as best you can and then discuss the global impact. And it's very interesting, especially internationally, how many people are curious as to what does the election mean to the global economy, because now we live in a globally interdependent society. Whether it's economics, security, healthcare, doesn't matter. We are all connected in this great fabric of the world that we live in. And that's why I really enjoy giving the U.S. Election Brief, because of my background at the White House, on the campaign in 2004, on television from 2004 to the present, to giving a nonpartisan perspective on American politics. It's been a great fun road. And I'm glad that we're adding it into the repertoire, because after the election, there's going to be a lot more, I think a lot of conferences that are already in place, where now people are asking, hey, are we going to talk about the elections at all? Can we just get a good, clear view of this? Well, you can. I'm ready. I'm ready.
Well, Laura, thank you very much. And we will see you out and about and all the conferences and conventions out there around the world. And everyone out there watching us on live stream, thank you so much.
Hey, and thank you to Eagles, and thank you to all of you.